What's going on, Pokemon trainers? Today I'm going to show you the fastest way to get to Giovanni and beat him in Pokemon Go. I'm going to be showing you all of the steps 1 through 6 in the special research, Looming in the Shadows, and I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to beat this as fast as possible. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you need to do in step 1 out of 6 is spin 10 Pokestops. This can be the same Pokestop spun 10 times, or it can be 10 different Pokestops or a mix of them. Just make sure that you spin 10 Pokestops. Next up, you should defeat 3 Team Go Rocket grunts, meaning you actually need to beat them. You can't just encounter them, but you actually have to beat them. If you guys take a look on the screen right here, I've put the Pokemon type effectiveness chart made by Couple of Gaming in the middle so you guys can see all the effectiveness. And if you look to the right, I made a little chart that shows you what all of the Team Go Rocket grunts actually say to you before you begin the battle. So before you battle a Team Go Rocket grunt, you want to listen to what they say to you. So for example, if you know they're going to use poison type Pokemon, you can take a look at the Pokemon type effectiveness chart, go down to the poison type, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up from the bottom of the chart, and you can see that ground type and psychic type Pokemon are super effective against poison types. So you know that you can win easily if you use ground or psychic type Pokemon. However, if you look at me over on the left taking on a Team Go Rocket grunt, I'm simply using a Bite Crunch Tyranitar. So even though dark type moves are not super effective against poison type Pokemon, I'm still able to defeat her easily because Tyranitar is such a beast in Pokemon Go. So if you don't know what kind of Pokemon to get those super effective moves, simply use big powerhouse Pokemon like Machamp, Tyranitar, and Mewtwo, and you should be just fine. After you've defeated 3 Team Go Rocket grunts, your next step is to catch 1 Shadow Pokemon. Hopefully this should be pretty easy for you. If you've defeated 3 Team Go Rocket grunts, you've had 3 chances at capturing a Shadow Pokemon. The easiest way to catch a Shadow Pokemon after you've defeated a Team Go Rocket grunt is by using a Golden Raspberry. You want to Golden Raspberry it on every throw just to ensure that you do actually capture it, especially if you do not have your Hero and Purifier badges upped, because that means you're going to be working with less Premier Balls. So if you want to have more Premier Balls to increase the chances that you might actually capture it, you got to work on your Hero and Purifier badges. Next up, in step 2 out of 6 for Looming in the Shadows, you've got to spin a Pokestop 5 days in a row. Now this is the only part of the entire research that's actually time gated, so it's going to deliberately slow you down. But that's okay because you also have to do a couple of other things that are time consuming in step 2. So simply spin a Pokestop 5 days in a row. That could be the same Pokestop spun 5 days in a row, or it can be different Pokestops. It doesn't matter as long as you spin a Pokestop 5 days in a row. So next you have to purify 15 Shadow Pokemon. My best suggestion to you guys is pick Pokemon that don't cost as much to purify it. So for example, the lowest Stardust cost for purification is 1,000 Stardust. So you want to find Pokemon like Rattatas or Zubats that only cost you 1,000 Stardust. So that way you're going to save a little bit, because it doesn't matter which 15 Pokemon you purify. It can be any 15 Pokemon as long as you purify them. So you're going to need to capture 15 Shadow Pokemon. I would not recommend purifying your Shadow Legendaries if you've already caught a Zapdos or an Articuno or something like that previously. Pick something with low Stardust cost. And if you have Stardust to spare, then it's going to benefit you to purify Pokemon that you could use for upcoming community days. For example, you could have Ralts, Larvitar, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, any of those Pokemon that could be evolved for Community Day. Make sure you purify them so that way you can actually evolve them to get their exclusive moves whenever Community Day comes up in the future for you. Also in step 2, you should win 5 raids. You can go about doing this all in one day, and you can use premium raid passes and 1 free raid pass, or if you want to not use any of your premium raid passes and just use your daily free raid pass, you can do that, and it actually works nicely since you have to spin a Pokestop 5 days in a row in the same step. What you can do is go to a raid and spin the Pokestop at the gym, and you will get a 1 free raid pass per day. So you can actually do this once per day and not use any of your premium raid passes. However, if you want to get it over with very quickly, the fastest way to do it is simply use 5 raid passes on 1-star raids, and the 1-star raids will be over very quickly for you. Moving on to step 3, you need to use 6 super effective charge attacks in gym battles. So if you take a look on the screen, I've put the super effective chart up again. So you guys should learn these types and try to memorize which things are super effective. Next up, you need to head to a gym that's not your own team, so that way you can try to take it on in a battle. You want to pick Pokemon that will be super effective against whatever you're fighting in the gym. So you can see in this example that I found a Porygon in a gym that's not my team, and I could take it out using a Machamp. Machamp is going to do super effective damage to this Porygon because normal types are weak to fighting types. So without simply attacking, I'm actually going to attack it very slowly so that way I can build up my charge attack and then finally use the charge attack before it actually faints. So that way it counts towards my special research. Next, in step 3, we need to win 3 Great League trainer battles against another trainer. Shout out to my friend Zoe Two Dots, who is also a Pokemon Go YouTuber. She's on my friends list across the world in Australia. So I was able to call her up and say, hey, can you please throw 3 Great League trainer battles and let me win? And of course, if anybody's your real friend, they're gonna say, yes, of course, I'll just let you win. So the fastest way to go through these battles is by getting a friend that you can either battle with over long distance or that they can be right next to you, and simply have them throw the match, as in let them have you win. And how you do that is have them pick their weakest Pokemon and you use strong Pokemon against them. That way, with one tap, you can take out their Pokemon very quickly, and then you can move through all 3 matches very fast. Simply click rematch after you beat them, and you can go through this 3 times very fast, and you're gonna get it over with in no time. And then after that, you need to defeat 6 Team Go Rocket Grunts in step 3. That is simply a matter of finding 6 more Team Go Rocket Grunts and defeating them. I've already showed you guys the super effectiveness chart, which is back on the screen, and you can download that by clicking the link in the descriptions box if that's going to help you memorize that, or you could just download it to your phone so you can reference whatever the Team Go Rocket Grunts use and how to get super effective attacks on them. Moving on to step 4, we finally get to the really juicy stuff. Now we need to defeat Team Go Rocket leader Arlo, defeat Team Go Rocket leader Cliff, and defeat Team Go Rocket leader Sierra. So really quickly, I'm going to show you guys my battle against Arlo, and I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see it at a faster pace, and I'm going to give you the recommended counters against his team. Arlo is always going to start out with his Shadow Scyther. The second Pokemon that he could have could either be Magnezone, Crobat, or Gyarados. And his third Pokemon could be either Scizor, Dragonite, or Charizard. Therefore, your recommended counters should be Melmetal with Thundershock and Rock Slide and Thunderbolt, Mewtwo with Cycle Cut, Psystrike, and Ice Beam, and Blaziken with Counter, Blaze Kick, and Focus Blast. These are going to be your top recommended counters, but if you guys want to see other counters that you could use against Arlo, check the link in the descriptions box on the video that I made specifically about Arlo, and you guys can see all of the counters that Pokemon Go Hub recommends. But let me explain to you why you should use those. Melmetal is going to take down Scyther, Gyarados, Crobat, and Dragonite. Your Mewtwo is going to counter Crobat and Dragonite with its Ice Beam, and Blaziken can take down Magnezone and Scizor. And I like to add that it could also counter Scyther, but you shouldn't put Blaziken first, you should put Melmetal first, so that way it can get those shields off of Scyther really fast. A pro tip for defeating Arlo is to always remember that he's going to shield your first 2 charge attacks every time. So you're gonna want to shield your Melmetal because you've probably put your Melmetal in the first slot. So you don't want to avoid your Melmetal from taking any damage, so always shield yourself those first 2 charge attacks that you come across in order to keep your Melmetal alive longer. Of course, after you beat Arlo, there's a chance for a shiny Shadow Scyther. Shiny check, so good luck with your odds and hopefully you get a shiny out of it. Next up, we're going to be battling Sierra. Sierra is always going to have her Shadow Sneasel first up. Her second Pokemon could be Hypno, Lapras, or Sableye, and her third Pokemon could be Alakazam, Houndoom, or Gardevoir. Your recommended counters are going to be Lucario with Counter, Power Up Punch, and Shadow Ball, Melmetal with Thundershock, Rock Slide, and Flash Cannon, and Tyranitar with Bite, Crunch, and Stone Edge. You're going to be using the Lucario to counter Sneasel, Lapras, Hypno, and Alakazam. You're going to be using Melmetal to counter Gardevoir, Lapras, Hypno, and Alakazam. And Tyranitar can counter Hypno, Sableye, Houndoom, and Alakazam. Always remember that, just like Arlo, Sierra is going to always shield your first 2 charge attacks. So it might be worth it for you to also shield her first 2 charge attacks as well. Once you've defeated Sierra, you'll be awarded the opportunity to do a Shadow Sneasel shiny check. So if you're lucky, you might get a Shadow Shiny Sneasel, so good luck, trainers. Next up, we're going to defeat Cliff. He's always going to use a Meowth first. His second Pokemon could be Snorlax, Sandslash, or Flygon, and his third Pokemon could be Tyranitar, Infernape, or Torterra. Your recommended battle counters could be Lucario with Counter, Power-Up Punch, and Shadow Ball, Regice with Lock-On, Blizzard, and Focus Blast, and Swampert with Mud Shot, Hydro Cannon, and Earthquake. You're going to be using Lucario to counter Meowth, Snorlax, and Tyranitar. Regice can counter Flygon, Sandslash, and Torterra, and Swampert can counter Sandslash, Infernape, and Tyranitar. Of course, if you don't want to power up stuff like a Regice, there's other counters that you can use against Cliff, so check the link in the descriptions box to see my video specifically about how to beat Cliff, and you guys can see more counters that you can use against him. When you're battling Cliff, you want to remember that just like Arlo and Sierra, he's always going to shield your first 2 charge attacks, so it might be beneficial for you to also shield his first 2 charge attacks to beat him in battle. And after you've defeated Cliff, you will be rewarded with a chance to shiny check a Shadow Meowth. So hopefully if you're lucky, trainer, you'll get a shiny Shadow Meowth. Moving on to step 5 out of 6, we need to find the Team Go Rocket boss, battle the Team Go Rocket boss, and defeat the Team Go Rocket boss. Of course, we're talking about Team Go Rocket boss Giovanni. So how do you find him? You're actually going to be getting the Super Rocket Radar when you complete step 4 out of 6. So you will get the Rocket Radar after you've defeated Arlo, Cliff, and Sierra. Once you've activated the Super Rocket Radar, you can see locations where Giovanni should be located on the map. Of course, decoy grunts might be impersonating Giovanni, so you might have to search around for a little while to actually be able to find him. However, it seems like Giovanni camps out in very popular places, like very popular Pokestops, something that's relevant to the area, like city halls, libraries, somewhere that's very popular to many people. So once you've found Giovanni, let me show you how to defeat him. Giovanni is always going to start out with his Persian. His second Pokemon could be Dugtrio, Rhydon, or Hippowdon, and his third Pokemon could be Articuno, Moltres, or Zapdos. Therefore, your recommended counters are going to be Tyranitar with Smackdown, Stone Edge, and Crunch, Swampert with Water Gun, Hydro Cannon, and Earthquake, and Lucario with Counter, Power-Up Punch, and Shadow Ball. Lucario's counter will power up his Power-Up Punch move so fast that you'll be able to get down Giovanni's 2 shields the fastest as possible, so that's why you want Lucario to go first. But otherwise, you can use your Tyranitar to cover Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, so that way you can use Smackdown Tyranitar for any of the 3 legendary birds. And your Swampert is going to cover Dugtrio, Rhydon, and Hippowdon, so if you have a powered up Hydro Cannon Community Day move, Swampert, you should be good to go against any of the 3 Pokemon that he'll use in the slot number 2. So, with these 3 Pokemon, you should be able to always take down Giovanni's team. Just like Arlo, Cliff, and Sierra, Giovanni's always going to shield your first 2 charge attacks. So if it's up to me, I'm going to go ahead and say, go ahead and also shield his first 2 charge attacks to help keep your Lucario alive even longer, because Lucario is going to be good the entire battle if you can keep him alive that long. However, if he does faint, don't worry about it. Your shields are just as easy to use for your Tyranitar and Swampert, so you should be good to go to use your shields literally at any time during your battle. After you've defeated Giovanni, you will be rewarded with an opportunity to catch the legendary Pokemon in shadow form that he battled you with. So for example, if you encountered Articuno in your Giovanni battle, you will be able to capture Shadow Articuno. If you battled Zapdos in your Giovanni battle, then you'll be able to capture Shadow Zapdos after the battle. Of course, you need to defeat Giovanni to be able to get to these Pokemon. And currently in Pokemon Go, these legendary Pokemon cannot be shiny. However, most likely we will be able to get the Shadow shiny variants of these legendary birds later on in the future in Pokemon Go. But for right now, just focus on getting these Shadow Pokemon for your Pokedex. After you've defeated Giovanni and hopefully caught your Shadow legendary Pokemon, the end of step 5 out of 6 will allow you to collect Stardust, XP, and 3 Silver Pinette Berries. Going through that, you'll be able to collect more Stardust, a Charge TM, and a Fast TM. And then finally, when you're moving on to the final step, step 6 out of 6, everything will already be completed. You simply need to claim lots of XP, 2000 XP for each button that you click, and at the very end, you'll be able to get some Max Revives, Ultra Balls, and rare candies. After you completed this special research, you'll be able to move on to getting your next Shadow Legendary Pokemon from Giovanni in the following month. Thank you so much for watching that clip. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please smash the like button if you did. Go ahead, subscribe if you're new, and turn on the bell notification icon so you're alerted whenever I go live so you don't miss another of my Pokemon Sword live streams. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.